Hey everyone, welcome back to Main Deck. I'm Dan, of course, and today we are looking at the top 5 coolest cards in Grand Archive's second set, Fractured Crown, which is releasing August 25th, 2023. We are recording a series of these videos that are top 5 lists, looking at different facets of Fractured Crown for your own analysis, and because we are just personally super hyped about this very, very good second set for Grand Archive. If you are interested in some more critical stuff, as soon as we get back from the upcoming Gen Con, we are going to have things like a full set review. We'll have our hands on some cards. We'll have play tested quite a bit more, and we'll have some better analysis, more critical analysis to give you guys then. But until then, I hope you guys enjoy all these top 5 lists, give you a little bit of insight, and I hope you're as excited for set 2 Fractured Crown as we are. So without any further ado, let's jump into the top 5 coolest cards in Fractured Crown. All right, now for number 5, I'm already starting off our list by cheating, so I apologize for that. I am putting 2 cards in at number 5 because honestly, these two kind of go hand in hand, and the 2 cards we're going to be talking about are Prismatic Sanctuary and Right of Realm. So for our coolest cards list, we're really looking at the cards that just stand out the most, that have the most kind of ooh and ah factor. And from a play standpoint, and also honestly from an art standpoint, Prismatic Sanctuary is one of the ones that I think is the most exciting. It is a 3-cost unique domain that has upkeep at the beginning of your recollection phase. Reveal a card at random from your memory. If that card is not fire, water, nor wind element, sacrifice Prismatic Sanctuary. So at the beginning of your recollection phase, you want to reveal a basic element card every single time, but the effect is fire, water, and wind elements are enabled for you. So this is the second card that we've seen in the game that allows you to mix your basic elements together that's playable in Constructed outside of the sealed only cards. And this one is a lot more open than trying to play into Trisket in Luxem Assassin right now. And this is a card that will actually allow people to come up with, I think, some very clever and interesting combo decks. There are some very fun ways that you can combine basic element cards in the game. Things like playing Arthur alongside Phalanx Captain to provide tons and tons of buffs to your entire team in a warrior build. Or, for example, Blue Slime has always been looking for a way to deal damage to it. Well, how about you put in Purge in Flames, wipe the board, pump up your Blue Slime at the same time, and crash in for damage? Seems like a pretty cool little combo to me, and I'm sure there are much more. I'm excited to see what the combo builders discover with Prismatic Sanctuary, but of course, the big problem is that it has this upkeep cost that can cause you to sacrifice it. So in comes Right of Realm. Fascinating little 3-cost item that actually goes, it's the first item I believe that goes into your main deck and not your material deck. And when you play this, it just sits in play. Whenever you activate a domain card, you can sacrifice Right of Realm. And if you do, that domain enters the field without the upkeep ability, meaning that Prismatic Sanctuary can enter and it no longer has that cost. And to top it off, it has floating memory too. So after you sacrifice it, boom, you can use it to materialize something. Also really nice if you're trying to play the domains from set 1, which all prevent you from being able to materialize more things unless you want to sacrifice the domain. So I kind of like it there because then it can sacrifice itself, remove that upkeep, and then you can use it to materialize something afterwards, which you normally weren't able to do, and keep that domain in place. So very cool little set of cards here, Prismatic Sanctuary and Right of Realm. I had to kind of include them both just because I felt like they go together, and the people who are going to be building Prismatic Sanctuary decks will probably be including Right of Realm as well to try and make it all swing together, because not being able to play with Norm or Advanced Element cards might be just a little too limiting. Or they might find that their plays are more limited on their turns, being unable to put those into their memory. So there you go. That's number 5, Prismatic Sanctuary / Right of Realm. All right, for number 4, coolest card in Grand Archive Fractured Crown, we are looking at Crawl Stone Scale Tyrant. This is the first dragon in the game, and that's very exciting because I know lots of people are fans of big, spooky, scary dragons, and that is certainly what Crawl is. It is a unique ally, Tamer Beast Dragon. It is a beast for Tamer, which is awesome because it'll interact with all of Tamer's cool stuff. And it is a Terra ally that has no pride cost, which is very nice to see. That's kind of the limiting factor on Tamer that has made Tamer a little bit harder to play, but more on that in a different video. Crawl is a 5-cost, 6-power, 8 HP ally that has, as an additional cost to activate this card, you have to banish 2 preserved cards from your material deck. And so that is really the big limiting factor. You need to find a way to preserve those cards. Now, currently preserve is just on a select number of cards, and it does mean if you're playing Crawl in your deck, you're probably going to be jamming in things like Terracite, which draws a card and preserves itself, which can set up for Crawl there. You may also want to play cards like Invoke Dominance, another action that just immediately goes right into your material deck. I would say I'm not certain about some of the allies with preserve, because you're going to kind of want to play Crawl probably the turn you get to level 3 if possible. That may just make it a little more difficult. Your opponent can kind of play around you being able to play Crawl by not taking out your allies that have preserve on them. But once you can get Crawl down, look at this guy. Intercept, Spell Shroud, True Sight, Vigor. He's got a smattering of keywords. He will block anything. He will untap at the end of turn so that he can block things. He has True Sight. He will attack stealth things. He's got Spell Shroud. You cannot target him with anything unless he goes on a fishing accident or something. Keep in mind, skills are not spells, and skills ignore Spell Shroud. So Crawl is, of course, susceptible to the fishing accident that everyone is susceptible to. And he has on attack, reveal the top 2 cards of your deck and put them in your material deck preserved, which is awesome for 2 reasons. Number 1, if it's time to play Crawl again, maybe this Crawl does get taken out, he already sets himself up to be able to play another one right out of your hand because he puts in those preserved cards in your material deck. And the other really cool thing about that, if you want to think about it this way, putting random cards from the top of your deck into your material deck preserved means that in your next materialize phase, or any future materialize phase, you are able to look at those cards and put any one of them in your hand instead of materializing. That is very powerful. It's like having a bunch of Grand Crusader rings in your deck, except you get to actually select the card from at least 2 in this case. This is like a better Grand Crusaders ring by just preserving random cards that he's just going to add to your deck every time you attack. That means that it's not going to take very long for you to accrue a lot of value, find exactly the right cards, find another copy of Crawl, finish your opponent off that way if you need to. Not that it should take you too long to finish the game with this 6/8 massive beast in play, but that is Crawl Stone Scale Tyrant, a very fitting first dragon for Grand Archive. A very, very fun card. I can't wait to find decks that are going to be able to use this. We're doing a lot of testing with Tamer because we got to make Tamer work, and I think set 2 might have given it the juice to be able to finally break in and put some placements into some tournaments. So I'm excited to see that. All right, number 3 coolest card is me cheating again. This time we're doing the 3 Spirits of Serene elements: Spirit of Serene Fire, Spirit of Serene Water, and Spirit of Serene Wind. Why are these so cool? These are the first alternate spirits, basic spirits put into the game. You no longer have to only run the Draw 7 Spirit. You may now choose between a Draw 7 Spirit and a Spirit of Serene for the element that you want. In this case, what they all do is on enter, instead of Draw 7, they are Glimpse 6 and then draw 6 cards. Now, we gotta stop for a second because I think a lot of people read that and think that sounds pretty absurd. And yes, I think that is going to be an effective strategy for a lot of decks to run. But keep in mind, this is not looking at 12 cards in most situations. Glimpse 6 means you're going to look at the top 6 cards of your deck, place some of them on top and the rest on bottom. You may put all of them on bottom if you want to, and in that case, you're going to see 12 different cards. But a lot of the time, you may look at those top 6. You'll probably say, on average, you'll probably keep 2 to 4 of them. Potentially, let's just average it at 3. So really what we are doing is seeing a total of 9 cards in that case, and then ending up drawing 6 of them. And now when you compare that to a Draw 7 Spirit, you are getting to look at 2 more cards at the cost of being down 1 card for the rest of the game. On average, that is not a massive gain. I think a lot of decks, based on how Grand Archive works, with the importance of having cards in hand, because they not only give you those options, but they are resources to play things. A lot of decks will still, I think, prefer to have the 7th card in hand. But that is not the only benefit of this thing. And that's where I think these things start to feel like the juice is being added to them. They have Lineage Release, Recover 6. This is a new ability that means activate this ability by banishing this card from your champion's inner lineage. And then Recover 6, of course, will heal 6 HP. And that Lineage Release ability Keep in mind that will shut off your ability to play that basic element. As soon as you banish the spirit from your lineage, you no longer have access to whatever element it unlocks. So if you banish Spirit of Serene Fire, you can no longer play fire element cards for the rest of that game unless you re-enable it some way, such as through Prismatic Sanctuary. But this gives every Spirit of Serene deck a panic button where as soon as they are about to take lethal damage, they can banish their spirit to recover a little bit more, possibly cling on to the game a little bit. Now, this may be tempered because we're seeing in this set some ways to prevent recovery as well. So I think there will be a little bit of give and take. I think there will be a lot of meta choices being made. My initial take on this is you're going to be playing Spirit of Serene in decks that are playing generally enough advanced elements where your first hands are a little bit clunkier and you're going to value having the ability to consistently see more playable cards versus getting one extra card in hand to play those with. The decks that are running possibly like Lineage Break Champions and decks that are running more aggressively will prefer, I think, to have a 7-card hand because that will allow them to play those first turns faster, which will allow them to secure more games. And when you compare that to other decks that are going to be looking for more particular setups of cards, I think some decks that are on the more control side or combo side that are using things like Hasty Messenger, Creative Shock, and trying to specifically discard floating memory cards very early, or water decks that are looking to set up those like Idle Thoughts into Tide Diviner or one of the new Fractals to be able to discard floating memory cards, they may prefer to actually go down a card at the start of the game to ensure that their starts are a little more consistent, which then I think they'll make up that value pretty quickly. So I think it just depends a little bit on your deck, but no matter what, I think these are very fun to have and a very cool option, especially for the players who have been uncertain about not having a mulligan-like feature in the game. You may just want to straight play the Spirit of Serene cards in all your decks because you like having that extra added consistency, even though I think on average, it does not see quite as many cards in comparison to the Draw 7 as a lot of people assume it does based on the initial read of the card. But very cool, very exciting. We can't wait to have these, and I'm looking forward to seeing what other types of crazy spirits they come out with in the future sets as well. All right, well, you had to know that this was going to be on the list if you've been paying attention to the spoilers for Fractured Crown at all. As far as coolest cards, Merlin Kingslayer level 3 has got to be one of the coolest ones because it is bucking all the trends that we thought were being set up from set 1 already. It is providing a Lineage Break champion with a new Lineage level 3. So Merlin is now, as of set 2, the only Lineage Break champion that has her own unique path to level 3 from. Currently, Alan, Tristan, and Mordred all are still stuck at level 2, although they are all getting some very nice tools to play with in this set as well. So I'm very interested to see what sort of decks develop with them in the new metagame. But Merlin Kingslayer is a level 3 champion, mage, and warrior human. So the cool thing about Merlin is that she unlocks class bonuses for both mage and warrior once you hit her level 3. And she has the following ability at the beginning of your recollection phase: put a level counter on Merlin. Then if there's an even amount of level counters on Merlin, draw a card, and Merlin's attacks get +2 power until end of turn. So she plays off of Merlin level 2's level counters and gives you this sort of either or, where every single turn you're gaining an extra level, which can affect your efficiency plays, especially some of the mage class bonus cards that you have access to. And then on half of the turns, you're also going to be getting a +2 power, encouraging Merlin to get in there and attack. And of course, from a story perspective, it looks like Merlin has in some way taken control of Lorraine. Either she's imitating Lorraine or has mind controlled Lorraine. We're not still totally sure on what's going on in the story, but it is very interesting either way. And as such, she also unlocks the Crux element. If you caught our preview video, we went over Incarnate Majesty and the Majestic Spirit, which are perfect Merlin, almost Merlin exclusive Crux finishers. I mean, they could be played in some other things, but really they're going to be best, I think, in a Merlin deck. Now, starting in Fractured Crown's metagame, as soon as you sit down with someone and you see them level into either a Lorraine or a Rye, you are going to have no idea which deck they could be playing, which deck they could be going into until you can see some more of their cards, because that deck could be going all the way to a Stormseer or a Manor Weaver Rye. It could be stopping at Merlin level 2 and doing Erupting Rhapsody combos. It could be going to Merlin level 3 and playing the Majestic Spirit. It could be going to Lorraine level 3 and playing a traditional Lorraine in Soul combo or Infusion combo. It could be stopping at Mordred and doing some warrior shenanigans there. Merlin has just increased the amount of permutations that you're going to see from different decks you're sitting across from and different decks you can build. And it's just very, very exciting to see this stuff added to the game. And it makes me even more excited for set 3 when even more classes are going to start to be added to the game. The deck building is just going to explode at that point. So Merlin is definitely a super cool card and easily fitting of our number 2 slot. All right, so when it comes to number 1, I mean, realistically, I don't think the number 1 on this list is even that much cooler than the number 5, for example. I think they're all fairly interchangeable, and if you have your own takes on what you think the coolest cards are in Grand Archive Fractured Crown, let me know down in the comments below what you think. But for me, I felt like I just had to put this one in the number 1 slot. Number 1 is Fractured Crown in a Grand Archive Fractured Crown. I'm a sucker for naming cards after sets, even though it's kind of annoying on the back end from a shop owner perspective trying to catalog things. I just think it's very cute and very cool. And in this case, this card is really, really neat. This is a 0-cost Luxem Regalia item warrior artifact with a new keyword called Champion Link, also showing off another new keyword from the set. Champion Link allows this object to enter the field linked to target champion. In a way, it's like it's attached to that champion in some way. If the link is ever broken, so one of them leaves play, then this object gets sacrificed. And in this case, what this does, so again, keep this in mind. Currently, this would be for your Luxem deck specifically. But it has a class bonus, which means if you're playing into Trisket which is the current only way to play a warrior in Luxem, you're only going to get this class bonus from Trisket. So what it does is linked champion's first attack each turn gets +2. So for just the assassin, that's that's fine. It gives you +2 damage. It's not really something that's that exciting until you get to the late game. But if you are out there, and I have a local, shout out to our local Bo who is trying this week after week. If you're trying to make Trisket a thing, the class bonus on this is that champion also gets +2 HP for each unique ally card in your graveyard, giving you this very interesting, especially with all the new unique allies in Fractured Crown, this very, very unique deck build, pun intended, where you're going to be stacking all these different unique allies at 1 or 2 copies of each one. You're already playing Trisket, so you have access to every element's unique allies. And if you can slam down this Fractured Crown on Trisket, Trisket is going to gain so much HP. It's going to be hard for your opponent to keep up with that. You are still playing Luxem, so you do potentially have ways to recover as well and keep yourself in the game. And you're playing all the elements. So, I mean, sure, you can stack whatever you want to. I don't think this is the most competitive card, but as far as a cool card, I saw this and it just made me excited for some of the crazy interactions that people can see. And now, if we ever get a Luxem warrior in the future, Fractured Crown may come back and be a competitive powerhouse of a card. The biggest flaw with Trisket right now is that it's just sort of an unreliable, inconsistent deck. But if it can ever become more consistent, or we get a natural level 3 champion with Luxem that is a warrior, then this card is going to be one to watch out for. It will be serious stonks at that point. So, but I just think it's super cool and very fitting for the set. Very important, I think, that we have cards like this that are thematic and exciting and bombastic, even if they're not the most competitively playable cards right now. These are the kind of things that just get people excited to play the game on a more casual basis and excited for the future of the game as well. So those are my top 5 coolest cards in Grand Archive Fractured Crown. Again, if you have your own top 5 list, or if you'd switch anything around, let me know in the comments. I would love to hear what you think. We have some more top 5 lists coming, so make sure you check those out. I'm sure one of them will be linked here at the end. And of course, you can just check the channel. We got lots of them there. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for more Grand Archive content. We've got so much more coming, as well as all of our other favorite card games here on Main Deck. Appreciate you watching. Have a great one. We'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching another Main Deck video. You can support Main Deck by shopping at tcgplayer.com using our affiliate link. Check the description of the video for details. Main Deck is sponsored by JW Sports Cards and Gaming. Visit jwwcards.com and by our amazing patrons. Get exclusive content and other cool perks on the Main Deck Patreon. And hey, while you're here, I bet you'd like one of these videos. Go ahead, click one. I know you're gonna love it.